Woo! All right, we're halfway there, guys. Hang in there with us. Halfway there. Oh, gosh. I got to stop burping.
I need to...
Dying here.
I need to pour myself a cup of ambition.
A bit of the bubbly.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the form of a bubbly bounce.
Rumor, she takes the hair off and goes to the store like a normal human. Pretty sure, yeah. I mean, if you're Dolly Parton, you don't want to be Dolly Parton all the time. You'll never get nothing done.
Okay, why?
That's the big thing she and Mo have in common.
It's a new day. Yes, it is.
Wakey, wakey.
Time to get up.
Good morning, citizens.
Open and then
Rise and shine.
This is your wake-up call, people.
come on. The coffee's on.
Okay. Wednesday show. Here we go. No.
Rise and shine, nerds.
You're tuned in to episode 446 of the Back Row Morning Show, proudly a part of the Love Thy Nerd podcast network. I'm Radio Matt, the station manager and chief radio nerd here at LTN. I'm a third-generation radio dude and a lifelong nerd.
And I'm Mo, sidekick to the chief radio nerd, here to bring the facts and fire to your day, and I just refilled my coffee cup.
Today on the show, we continue our 4-day ultimate Ask Us Anything. Today answering questions about our friendships.
Do we have to? Also on the show today, who would have thought the Bible was right?
But first, today is Wednesday, February 23rd, 2022, and we got some holidays to celebrate.
That's right, it's National Dog Biscuit Day.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We had that poll the other day.
So tell us, Matt, how do dog biscuits taste?
Gross.
Fair, that's all I need to know.
Gross.
I would prefer this next day over National Dog Biscuit Day. It's National Banana Bread Day.
I love me some banana bread.
I do too. And listen, my husband loves, I shouldn't say he loves, my husband actually enjoys making banana bread, but like playing with the recipe every single time, seeing what he can add to it.
Cinnamon.
Oh my gosh. Cinnamon is the one thing that he can add to banana bread. You cannot add cinnamon
mix
to chili.
So he adds the cinnamon to the chili and the taco mix to the banana bread.
Probably. No, he's done like lemon and orange zest and
orange zest.
Different kinds of like raspberry or strawberry preserves and jelly, peanut butter. Oh, just everything. He
Walnuts?
legitimately. Well, I mean that's like at this point, that's a basic thing.
It is. It has to have walnuts.
Yeah. He kind of opens up the baking cabinet that we have with all of our different baking stuff. And he's like, what am I going to put in this time? What's getting ready to expire that I should use? Yeah. And lastly, it is...
Soy sauce.
That's not in our baking cabinet. It is Inconvenience Yourself Day. How you feel about that?
I feel like it's actually a very biblical kind of idea.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
It's a day to make sure it's not all about you. Mm-hmm. Make everybody else's day better by sacrificing a little bit of yours.
Okay, but listen. I tell my kids this all the time. If the world could just jump on board with this idea. You okay?
Yeah, my neck hurts.
Okay. If I am constantly thinking about Mila, and Mila is constantly thinking about Topher, and Topher's constantly thinking about Cannon, and Cannon's constantly thinking about Chris, and Chris is constantly thinking about me, and we're all doing our part to make sure that person's needs are being met, and they're feeling loved, and they're being supported and encouraged, then no one is lacking. Everyone is feeling loved and supported and encouraged, and none of us are being selfish about it. Why can't the world be like that?
What the world? Okay.
Needs now.
So we are going to play a game. Mo and I are going to go head to head.
I get to win back the belt.
Read the copy.
Oh,
you get
that's
so
right.
excited.
My bad.
I've already written all this out.
That's right, everybody. Matt and I will be playing a game as I return to my quest to gain back the undisputed back row championship title belt. And since I won last week in a game of rapid fire, I get to challenge Matt again today in the same game. And if I win, I reclaim what is mine.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to answer first?
No, you can answer first.
I'm going to answer first. Okay.
Yeah. Are you ready? New game.
Yeah. New game. I think you have to put. Oh, it's already set up. Just for the play. We're only going to do one round each anyway.
Just press. Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that a song? Just push play. Gotta do it anyway. No? Okay.
Maybe. Sounds like it should be.
There's an ad for Facebook. It's the dumbest ad. It says Team Mo will answer first, but that's not how it's going to work.
Okay.
Ready? Press start to begin. Name 3 words that start with G.
Good gracious golly.
Name 3 words that end in N.
Fun, bun, hun.
Name 3 dinosaurs.
T-Rex, pterodactyl, and triceratops.
Name 3 words that start with K.
Kite, kick, and kill.
Name 3 brands of root beer.
A&W, Barks, and Mug.
Name 3 Batman villains.
Joker, Sandman, and Riddler.
Name 3 jobs at a supermarket.
Cashier, stock boy, produce department sprayer guy.
Name 3 road signs.
Stop, yield, and one way.
Name 3 things you can take camping. You take camping.
You take camping tents, grill, food.
Okay.
Will you give me that last one?
Yeah, I'm going to give you that last one for sure because I misread it.
Okay. So I got 9
So
then?
9.
All
Yes.
right.
Matt
That's how
has
many
9.
you got last time. Just so you know.
I'm really, really, really thankful that you had that one because I could not have done 3 brands of root beer.
Oh, I thought I was done. I could not think of that third one for a second, but I got there.
A&W was the only one I could think of. I'm like, okay.
You gave me the Batman villain one, and that was the case of I knew too many that my brain refused to settle on them.
Yeah, you're going to
So
go
I'm like,
back.
It
You're going to go
looks
back
like I
and
don't
watch
know.
because like I know that as soon as I saw the question, I was like, great.
Right.
He gets this one. But then you're like kind of struggling and I'm like,
Right. I'm struggling
huh?
because I have like 15 flooding my brain at once, and I'm trying to pull just 3 out. I hate that. Oh, sorry. Hit
Yeah.
the microphone. Okay, your turn. Are you ready?
No, I'm really not.
You got to get 10. You got to get 10.
I know. My heart is like pounding. Yeah.
Okay, you ready? Mm-hmm. Here we go. Name 3 constellations.
The Big Dipper, Orion, Little Dipper.
Name 3 universities.
Duke University, University of North Carolina, and Berkeley.
Name 3 words that start with Y.
Yo, yum, yeet.
I'll give it to you. Name 3 Spice Girls.
Baby Spice, Scary Spice, Posh.
Name 3 toys that were popular when you were young.
Tamagotchi, what's that thing that Tamagotchi, Legos, and Cabbage Patch Dolls?
Name 3 burger toppings.
Tomato, lettuce, cheese.
Name 3 things you carry in a purse.
Wallet, chapstick, phone.
Name 3 Slurpee flavors.
Coca-Cola, cherry, and grape.
Name 3 wood products.
A table, a chair, and a light stand.
Name 3 things found in space.
Stars, moon, and sun.
Oh. Okay, so here's the deal. You answered the last one right after the buzzer. I did the same thing in the last round, but you said you gave it to me because you screwed up the question. Mm-hmm. And I didn't screw up the question.
No, but when I said stand, you paused. You didn't read the next question.
But you were still talking. You said light stand thing.
I didn't say thing. I said light
Well,
stand.
you were muttering.
How many did I get?
So you were between 9 and 10.
So
So
I
the
mean, at the
question
very
comes
least,
down to,
we tied.
do we give it to you or not?
We need to ask. We need to ask the Discord.
Should we do another round?
I'm okay with doing another round.
Let's do another round. I want to back out. New game.
Oh, that is true. You sassed my yeet answer also.
How did I sass it?
You said, I'll give it to you.
I did sass it. I'll give it to you.
I completely forgot about that.
I did too, and I remembered. I did say that. I was gonna say, I'm not gonna count yeet, but then I realized, I guess technically it's a word. It might not be a good word, but it's a word.
I really think that it's in the updated dictionary.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to you. All right, Mo wins.
Matt.
Mo wins. I'm not gonna fight it.
Oh, thanks, KY. Okay.
Good job.
Man,
Uh,
that's a record, though.
that is
10.
a record, and I can actually. Oh nope, hold on. I
What?
think I can move this. Bloop. There you go.
Would you look
It's back
at that?
over on your side now.
That's so exciting. All right.
Congratulations.
Thanks. You
Now
did
it's
pretty
time.
good.
Thanks. Now it's time for most fact of the day.
Oh, here's a dictionary fact for you. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, in 1925, dog biscuits was a military slang for army mattresses. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it, but it's the
But
best.
it's a fact.
It's the best dog biscuit fact that I could find, y'all.
Now it's over to our weird news desk.
Here's a news story that you might not have heard.
All right, guys. So this maybe isn't so much a weird news story as it is a kind of
Disturbing.
like we told you so news story.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even going to read the whole news story. I'm just going to tell you what it is. So there has been a huge study done, a bunch of research done about marriages, and I think it was specifically around women. So it's following women who get married young.
Okay.
But it shows us a truth that, the Bible has taught and churches have taught for a long time. But it says that when you get married before the age of 30, your risk for divorce is pretty high.
Right.
Like it's significantly higher than getting married after 30.
Yeah.
But the research has found that is not true in one case.
Okay.
And that case is if you don't live together first.
Huh.
They found that, again, I think this was focused on women, but they found that the couples that got married before the age of 30, I think it was between 20 and 30 was the range they were going for, who did not cohabitate before they got married, their divorce rate was one of the lowest. And I do think, like we've talked about this before, I do think that the reasoning behind that, other than it's kind of like the biblical standard, but I think that the reason it's the biblical standard is because it has to do with how we develop as people. Like we said, when you get married young, you're still developing into who you are.
Right.
And when you choose to live together beforehand, what you're doing, whether you think you're doing it or not, is subconsciously finding all the reasons to not stick with the person you're living with. Because there's nothing concrete holding you there. But if you still love each other enough, you can convince yourself, okay, well, I can deal with these. And you get married, and then you go back and nothing's different. Now you're just married, but you're still living in the same way you were, and all those problems that you found are still there. And now you think, okay, well, maybe I don't want to live with these for the rest of my life. Let's just call it off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an easier leap to make. When you are unmarried, not living together, but developing kind of up together, but still developing separately up until the point of marriage, at that point, you're stepping into a new journey. If you live together only after you get married, you're realizing that from this point forward, we grow together.
Yeah.
with the understanding that this is a permanent thing.
Yeah.
Because again, mostly this is religious families, not necessarily just Christian, but religious families that tend to go that route.
Right.
You're realizing this is a commitment that we're making. And so you will still come across those foibles and failings, but it'll often be a lot later because, again, you wouldn't have lived with this person for so long already for those failings to come forward. So this will come much later after your marriage is already starting to solidify in the earlier year or two or whatever. Mm-hmm. Those foibles start to come out. You realize, okay, this is going to be harder than we thought. But because now you have already had this bedrock of being together and growing together and developing together on purpose with a commitment, that's harder to break at that point.
Yeah.
Like it's really just about the commitment itself. Like so many people think that the marriage these days think the marriage is just a piece of paper and it doesn't really mean anything. And that's because we've made it not mean anything.
Right.
By not making that be anything special other than tax breaks. Mm-hmm. When you make that commitment something that is life changing and permanent, it forces you to grow in a way that works together with your spouse as opposed to growing separately because you were already together.
Yeah.
And now you're finding things that you don't like about them before you even get married. Mm-hmm. Like that doesn't say anything about situations where there's abuse or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
But I am talking about issues with, personality and immaturity and addiction and all those kind of things that can come up as the years go by. If you have a firmer foundation of marriage, you have a stronger foundation to have to break apart.
Yeah.
In order to see the need for divorce.
Yeah. Interesting. So you wanted to say what?
Huh?
I told you so.
Oh, yeah. We told you so, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Just listen to him. He wrote this big book full of great rules. Just listen.
Right.
There's a reason. It's not just because he wants to kill your fun. He has a reason for him, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just kidding. I can't force the beliefs on everybody, but hopefully this will open up some eyes. Like, okay, well, maybe we don't live together first.
Yeah.
Let's try and do this the right way. Mm-hmm. All right.
I will say it also is very hopeful that is very encouraging, I should say, for younger couples who get married.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a statistic.
So here, let me read that specific part and tell you where you can find this information. It says, as we recently discovered, however, there's an interesting exception to the idea that waiting until 30 is best. In analyzing reports of marriage and divorce from more than 50,000 women in the U.S. government's National Survey of Family Growth, we found that there is a group of women for whom marriage before 30 is not risky. Women who married directly without ever cohabitating prior to marriage. In fact, women who married between 22 and 30 without first living together had some of the lowest rates of divorce in the National Survey of Family Growth.
So
That's among all ages.
I think that it's important to note there's words in between the words there, and I wonder if it's purposeful, but it says for women who have never cohabitated. And it, to me, and I could be wrong, but to me, that isn't just saying with the person that they ended up marrying, but any previous person that they may have dated as well.
Yeah.
Which I think that also adds a whole nother level to it.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Interesting study.
Yeah.
Interesting study. Mm-hmm. Good to see.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What are we doing now?
This week, Mo and I are answering your questions. And while once a week, you ask us a question at the end of the week, and we've done a couple short Ask Us Anything events in the past. This week, we've invited you to ask us everything about everything. As long as it's not super inappropriate, we've promised to answer it all, even the embarrassing ones. So today, we're answering questions focused specifically around our friendships. And some of these are about Mo and I's friendship, and some of them are about our friendships in general. So,
You don't have any other friends.
I don't have many.
I'm just kidding. That was really rude of me.
It was rude, but it was more accurate than you, and that kind of made it hurt worse.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
So I'm going to read the questions this time, and Mo's going to answer first.
Which is awkward for this first one.
Well, that's true. This one, I guess, is just for me.
It is just for you.
Well, I mean, I guess you could give your thought. I'll read my thoughts, and then if you have anything to add from your perspective, go ahead.
Okay.
So the first question is from Lark, and Lark said, how did Mo become the better half of the show? And I wrote, by being able to put me in my place when need be. She's also more personable, looks better on camera, and sounds better on radio.
I don't know that I sound better on radio.
Well, right now you do for sure.
Well, yeah, but you definitely have more of a radio
I have a
voice.
radio voice, but I don't always keep it on, and that's the problem. I'm not forward thinking about my voice, and so I often get too quiet. Or this is just me nitpicking myself.
Yeah, that's
But
fair.
you're pretty consistent. Let's put it that way.
Loud.
Sure.
Yeah. Always have been. Since the very first time I was on a podcast. Loud. Also, can I just add that what happened before we actually opened up and started answering questions probably adds to it a little bit as well. The fact that I'm really quick to point out when I'm wrong and say, I'm sorry, that was wrong of me.
Well, I mean,
shouldn't
yeah,
have done that.
true.
Yeah.
But that hasn't always been the case. You've grown.
Fact, Jack. Very good. Yes.
Lark also asked if you had to add someone from this Discord, which is our Backrow Buds Discord at backrowdiscord.com, as a third co-host to the show, who would it be?
Oh, gosh. Listen, I feel like I'm about to make somebody super upset. But I'm going to say Oriole, hands down. He does a really good job interacting with us. It's not awkward. He is very good at communicating his thoughts without chasing a rabbit trail. He has a very good radio voice.
He does.
And I mean, he's been around the longest, so it's only fair.
So I honestly think I'm taking the easy way out here and saying several names. I honestly think that at least half of you would work well in the role. I think Tad and Threy are great for intellectual additions.
Yes.
If we wanted more humor and sarcasm, I think Brian and Megara both would be good in that role.
Yeah.
But seriously, quite a few of you could be good in that third chair. I really think.
I think that
it's hard to pick one.
I think it'd be super fun to have we have nothing to do with this. To have a Meg, Oriole, Threy, Tad
Round table podcast.
Yeah. That would
Drop a topic in their lap.
and just let them go for it. I went back and forth because
It's not an impossibility, by the way.
so I love Threy. She was one of my top thoughts. Tad was one of my top thoughts. But, and Tad even admits this in the chat, he chases squirrels. And Threy, while I love her dearly, can get caught in a word when she's trying to explain something. And so sometimes I want to be like, come on, Threy, come on. Say what you're saying. So that's why I had to pick Oriole. Threy says.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Megara's asking, what were your first impressions of each other?
So
I had my answer here.
I thought that Matt was a over-controlling worrywart who needed to mind his business.
No reason not to think that.
But then out of nowhere was super kind. Like within the next minute, it was like, oh, okay. He's not necessarily a worrywart. He's just concerned, and he's going to make sure that nothing happens.
I didn't want to have to tell your husband that I just sat there and watched you fall off a ladder and die. It's a very tall ladder. You're on the top rung, reaching out with your full extended arm and body, and I'm way in the back, trying to put the service together, thinking she's going to fall and die. And I'm going to have to explain that I just sat there and let it happen.
Yeah. So on top of it being a very tall ladder and me being on the top rung that you're not supposed to be standing on, I was reaching over into an open baptismal that did not have water in it. So yes, absolutely, I would have died.
So yeah, my first impression of Mo, and one I believe is still pretty accurate, is that she is devoted yet reckless.
That's fair. Very fair. Mm-hmm.
Megara also asked, when did you know you were friends for life?
I don't know, Matt. I can't pinpoint it.
Okay.
You can pinpoint it?
Yes, I can.
Can you really?
Mm-hmm. I pinpointed from that very first interaction.
Did you really?
We talked a lot while we were there. It was like
We
half an
actually
hour.
did. Yeah.
And I thought by the end of that, this is a fun person. I want to hang out with her more.
Yeah. So it was love at first sight, Matt. I will agree that very first interaction, I walked away like not feeling like I had just talked with a stranger, but feeling oddly like I had just spoken with a friend that I had known my entire life.
Right. It felt like we had already been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
By the end of it, anyway. And it was really weird because we didn't talk about anything particularly special.
Yeah.
I don't really remember anything we talked about. But it's just that we were both there. This was happening. I was going to hold that ladder no matter what you said. And so we just talked.
Yeah.
Talked about VBS and talked about other things. And it's like,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah. Also, when you asked me to be your one and only co-host, that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm stuck with this dude for forever now.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Pardon me. Gracious sakes.
You good?
I think so.
Okay.
Megara asked, what is your honest opinion of each of the Among Us crew? This was hard and long to do. Make them quick opinions.
I don't have quick opinions. Okay.
Can't be here.
Okay, listen. Shh. I was not a super fan of Lark in the beginning because she was mean.
Oh, she was mean to you that first night. But
She was mean.
She was joking, but in the way that she joked with everybody else. But we've come across this a couple times. I've had a few people tell me this same thing. It's like their first night playing, the first couple nights playing, you know, we kind of treat you like we treat everybody, which is all kind of like in a joking, mean way.
Yeah.
But they took it as, oh gosh, I've caused
these
so many
people are
problems.
mean.
I've caused so many problems right away.
Thray has always been the detective, which I love. It's always so disappointing when she dies because then it's like, we're
all lost.
What's
Like,
gonna
oh no,
happen?
Thray died first. Dang it.
What's gonna happen now?
Who knows how to play this game?
Yeah. Oriole is like my brother from another mother, just because we're both from Maryland and have this bond always. That Radio Matt dude, I'm not a super fan of. Always trying to kill me for no good reason. Who else is in there that I'm forgetting? Meg. Again, Meg is my girl because we share a name.
Got Rogar in here.
We have see, yeah, I don't think Rogar cares for me very much because there's only a couple people that I've ever like thrown huge sus on.
And he's one of them.
And he's one of them, and I was wrong. And people actually listened to me this time, and yeah, I still feel bad about that.
Did you say Silver?
Silver, like I feel like I have kind of the same feelings, just in different ways about everybody. These people are my people. They're my friends, but they're people that I've never met. And I don't know. Anyway, Silver she's more fun to watch on her stream while she's playing than to actually play alongside because she's such a facial kind of person. When you're watching her on her stream, you can see all of the actual reactions.
Yeah. Her face is very emotive.
My least favorite person is Coffee, hands down.
Were you still playing when Grayson was playing with us?
Yes. Grayson is my more favorite of the
Teenagers. Rye Guy?
Love Rye Guy. Rye Guy was so fun to play with, especially in those early days when he could not lie.
He still struggles with it from
Yeah.
time to time. And I
But-
think the only other person that is playing now that you played with was Gabigan.
Oh, see, and Gabigan, he's from Georgia, which we just recently found out. But from the very first time that I heard Gabigan talk, he reminded me of home. And so, like, just to play with him and hear him in chat talking, it's like a comforting kind of thing, which is oddly strange. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at home when Gabigan is playing.
Yeah. I understand that feeling
Yeah.
exactly. Yes,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. All right, so I'm going through this list, and I have a couple more names because these are people that have joined us regularly since you kind of
Yeah, sorry.
became a turd.
Wow.
I mean, stop playing. I'm sorry. I don't know how that came out that way. So I got Silver is a true leader. Thray is pretty much a genius. Brian is snarky, good fun. Toffee is great at what he does, but sometimes too serious about it. Rogar is hard to read. Lark is talkative. Grayson digs his own grave. Rye Guy is still reckless. Meg is full of mayhem. Gabigan is a fun dad. Brother Maud is fun to pester. Tad is very excited all the time. Toothless is secretly better than most of us at the game. And I think that's everybody
That's fair.
that regularly plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Megara asked, Mo, would you be down for a Ladies Among Us night? Ladies only.
Yes, please. I actually think that one of my very favorite times playing Among Us, it was we had 3 killers,
Yeah. We do that mostly these days.
and it was 3 ladies. I want to say it was me, Thray, and Silver.
I think so. I think I'm remembering the game.
And it was a victory, and it was beautiful, and I loved it. So yeah, I think that it would be fun to do a ladies only.
Ladies night. Megara asked if you could. Oh, I had that on just me that whole time. Sorry. Megara asked if you could meet us all in person. Would you prefer to do so as a group or one-on-one?
I think so. Honestly, I think that having kind of like a group gathering would probably take a lot of pressure off of a lot of anxiety surrounding. Well, these people are like my friends, but they're only like my friends through a screen. What's it really going to be like face to face? And you have more of a likelihood to connect at least with one of them physically and in reality than not connecting with anyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it would, in a group, would take a lot of pressure, but I would definitely want to spend time one-on-one with each person.
I'm just going to stick with a group. I'm not good in one-on-one situations with pretty much anybody. So, yeah, groups are good.
Okay.
Megara asks, are most of your friends younger or older than you?
This has recently changed. Well, I shouldn't say recently. There was a time where I was the baby of the group, and it's because I had kids pretty young. And so I was friends.
You got jumped into all the
Yeah.
parents
Right.
things. Yeah.
My friends were my kids' friends' parents. And so I can constantly remember being told, "You're so young." And I hated it. Oh, I hated it. I could not stand it. But now somehow my friends are roughly the same age as me or younger than me. And it's very odd. One of my closest friends is actually Cannon's ex-girlfriend's mom. And she is 30. And I have to remind myself on a regular basis, you're almost a decade younger than me. Like,
Closer to half a decade. Come on.
but she definitely is. And she was a very young mom. And so she's had to mature just like I did, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway.
Most of my friends now are younger than me, mainly because most of my friends are staff at this church, and they're all younger than me. But those are just the only people that I really hang out with, and that's even a rarity. But it used to be the opposite, not because we had kids, because we actually waited to have kids, but it was because I get along better
with older,
with older people. I get kind of irritated by young people, and that's still true.
See,
Younger people.
So I would say that When I was in my 20s, I got along better with older people because those older people were in their 30s. But now that I'm almost like encroaching on 40, someone who is in their 50s and 60s, I really have a difficult time with.
Yeah, no. Once we
Really.
get up to the 50s and 60s area with people, I'm like, yeah, I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. For most people,
That sounds really
as well.
awful.
It does, but it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Mara, if you had to go to one of the Discord buds for advice, who would it be or why?
Oh. I mean, I don't mean... Okay. This is an easy answer for me. Easy, hands down. But I don't want to say that it's easy and then hurt anybody's feelings that I didn't pick them. Does that make sense? Thray, hands down. She is who I would go to for advice. And know that she would give it to me lovingly, but in truth. She would be really honest, but not to where it hurt terribly bad.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Brother Mon in chat is asking me to expound on my thoughts of him. So I said that he was fun to pester. And what I mean by that is that he's relatively new to our game. Not new to the group, of course, but relatively new to the game. And his reactions to everything have been so incredibly entertaining that you want to be involved with him, and somehow you want to either kill him right away, or if you're... One of my favorite things that happened recently was I was the guardian angel and he was trying to kill Grayson, which is his archenemy for some reason. And I kept protecting Grayson so he couldn't kill him. And to hear his response to that after the fact was absolutely hilarious. And so that's what I meant by fun to pester.
Yeah.
You're a really cool guy. And then I'm going to expound on that. The Discord buds that I would probably go to advice for, and this is kind of expounding on what you said as well about Gabigan, are probably Gabigan or Brother Mod. I don't necessarily know why. They just seem learned.
Learned
And wise. I feel like I would get honest, uplifting, yet truthful responses to things that I needed to know.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
How about that?
How about them apples?
All right. Megara asks, which Discord friend is the one that you are most pleasantly surprised by?
Tad. Hands down.
I put Tristan and Tad. They make me feel more important than I really am.
Yeah. That's fair. And honestly, so I don't know if... I'm pretty certain that Tad was already typing this and had hit enter in the chat before I even said it.
Don't look at those messages.
But it does have a lot to do with that because, so Tad says, I'm just a kid to these old folks. I would have never guessed his age because he is so wise and so mature. And so that was definitely a pleasant surprise. And then to know that he cares enough about us to listen to
too many of our episodes.
All of the episodes. Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Brian asks, I know when you were in the early days, so this is my question.
Okay.
I know when you were in the early days, you had more of a roundtable discussion group. What made you realize Mo was the right one to just continue with? So by early days, he means the Back Row Baptist podcast, which was the very first version of what this became. And the very first episode, it was me, John from the Two Words podcast, and our pastor, Kevin Wellborn, at the time, the very deeper guy.
The very deeper guy.
And I feel like it was really quickly. It was within the first 5 to 7 episodes, somewhere around there. We invited Mo on because we were going to be talking about issues in marriage, and this was something that you had just been starting to overcome, and you were willing to talk about it. And I noticed immediately that she had very natural, like, radio skills, as well as being funny as all get out. And so after that first show that she was on, I was convinced that she needed to be on every podcast. So we did have a round table for those for that podcast, for that first podcast. But Mo was a constant along with me. We had 125 episodes. She was in 118 of them, I think, like almost all of them. She even hosted a couple without me.
I was going to say, yeah.
So it wasn't really that we had a bunch of people and I picked one to move on to the morning show with me. It was more like she became my co-host almost right away because we had this natural connection, ability to play off each other. And I think that was the right call still to this day.
God also orchestrated some things, moving some people out of the picture, because I do feel like Joey and Kevin.
Joey was good, yeah.
Joey and Kevin both, I think.
Kevin was funny.
Yeah.
But he's always kind of like side chair.
He is.
He's perpetual third chair. Like if he's here, I'd have him here as often as he wanted to be, but he still wouldn't be my co-host.
No? Yeah. Okay. All right.
Because he doesn't want to be the intellectual guy always talking about the serious stuff or having these discussions.
Yeah.
He wants to be the jokester, which is not a bad thing to have. But sometimes you and I talk about deeper things, and I wouldn't be able to keep up with him.
Yeah. I mean, he not only that, but he would continually go very deeper. So
Very deeper.
yeah.
Brian asks, what's the best part of the weekly Among Us games? At least when you were a part of them.
Honestly,
I'm going to keep jabbing you with that.
I know.
Until you come back.
You know what? I'll be back on Tuesday. How's that? I'll make a
Do
promise.
it. You better.
I'll make a promise.
Everybody hold her to it.
Yeah, please. So, just as cheesy and corny as it sounds, just being a part of a group of people who care, who genuinely care, and they don't have to care, you know, because you could very easily write each one of us off.
Sure.
There's only a couple within the group who personally know each other. And so it would be really easy for us all to just be like, all right, and we're done. Peace out, you know? But that's not how it is. There's genuine concern and love for each other. And that's just so rare that, it is definitely something that is
Don't cry, Mo.
more needed within our daily lives.
Yeah. The best part is the fact that our group has become its own little community. What has happened with our Among Us crew is exactly what LTN wants to do. It wants to be the catalyst for growth among people like us. The fact that, firstly, we have all grown so close initially just from playing a silly space murder game to the point where we are genuinely invested in each other's lives. That's a big deal. And secondly, because of that, it has expanded outwardly. And thirdly, we welcome newcomers all the time into the group with little to no awkwardness. We've become this small group community that we have, that Love Thy Nerd always wants to have. And we've seen that happen in many other areas. But I was told by staff members, we had a call on Discord where we prayed over Oriole. As he's been going through some medical struggles lately, and he was worried, and we were all worried for him too. And they said, had it not been for that Among Us night thing, that probably wouldn't have happened. But we saw that big call and that huge prayer where nearly all of us just bathed Brian in prayer that day. They saw that and they wanted to tear up over just the fact that it was happening at all.
Yeah.
That this was the moment where they afterwards talked and they're just like, it's working, guys, it's working. Like, it's important. This kind of stuff is important, and we don't realize how something so silly can actually be the catalyst for something big.
Yeah.
And so it has become extremely important to me. And the more we see, and we've seen this in littler ways also throughout the last year and a half or so, where we've had people that have had bad weeks or bad down. We've sent them food or sent them blessed them in other ways. I've been blessed when my mother-in-law passed away and our family was struggling. That same group of people blessed us with with a gift to buy some food and make it easier on us during that time. And these kind of things are little, but they're big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And those are ways that the body of Christ, the church body, are supposed to operate. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing with Among Us is church.
Yeah, it is, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Can I just say, though, that it is kind of... Y'all, I'm about to get real for just a second, okay? This is kind of mixing...
Let's give you the spotlight then.
This is kind of mixing faith with friendship. Okay? What we have in our Discord group has kind of skewed, for me, church. Because it almost like makes me angry, makes me bitter, which is not a good thing. I know that. Listen.
I'm listening.
That a group of people who I've never met know the inner workings of my life, know when I'm struggling, know when my family's struggling, choose to go out of their way to love and support me through those times. And yet it's so difficult for a body of believers that I see regularly and that I'm a part of regularly to step up in the same way, which is very common within churches. I don't understand why. It's pretty heartbreaking to me.
I think COVID has even made it worse.
Absolutely.
We've all retreated.
Yeah, it has made
further.
people feel safe and secure in their own homes and not really having to fellowship.
Well, no, even at church, I feel like even people that are attending church still tend to try and section themselves off a bit.
Yeah.
More out of an impulse or maybe, what's it called? Unconscious thing. Something that they're not even realize they're doing just because that's how our brains have been trained over the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, I get you.
So, the Discord group has been good and it's also kind of slightly bad for me.
Quit making me realize that things should be better elsewhere.
Right?
All right. Brother Mott asks, what friendships are you most thankful for, which you see others close to you enjoying? So not our friendships, but friendships that our spouses have or our children have, and why?
Well, I've said this 22,000 times. I'll say it again. Since becoming a part of the LTN community and Topher becoming a part of the community, his confidence and in who he is, not only as a nerd, but also as a believer, has just grown beyond anything that I could have ever hoped for him. And so for that friendship, for that community of people who have surrounded him and loved him, that's something that I will always be immensely, immensely grateful for. Also with, I guess, really just my children, Cannon, going back to my friend, his ex-girlfriend's parents, they have really chosen to continue to love and support him. They text him daily. He was at home a couple days this past week, and her mom, his ex-girlfriend's mom, brought him lunch every day and just came over to see him and check on him and make sure that he's doing okay. She's gone to his wrestling matches. They get on Game Pigeon all the time and play games back and forth with each other. So with both of my boys, having these adults who have come into their lives and not only built a relationship with them, but also helped point them back to Jesus is something that I'm immensely grateful for, because it's not just coming from me.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm thankful for my oldest son's friendships, but more broadly, because I've seen him care about kids that are being left out to make sure that they're included.
He's always been like that.
Yeah, and his teachers tell us, stuff like that too all the time, that he's a leader, but he's more a leader that genuinely wants to make everybody included.
Yeah.
most of the time. If he could be that way with his little brother more often, I'd feel better about it.
Well.
But I also enjoy that my wife is genuinely friends with her sister. It's inspiring to me and makes me hopeful for our kids, because me and my brothers not only have no relationship, but we actively dislike each other.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I hate that. And I've always hated that. But every time there's hope for that to change, something else terrible happens and breaks down. And so, yeah, I've always kind of been worried about that in the back of my mind, even long before we had kids, that, you know, our kids are going to hate each other. So it's nice to see that.
And then every time that they bicker and argue, it only like solidifies that fear, right?
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah. So I'm inspired by that.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it. In fact, all the siblings are close, but especially Deidre and her sister.
Yeah.
KY asked, have you ever had to abandon an unhealthy friendship as an adult? And what did that process look like, or what should it have looked like?
So I for real have to answer this first.
You can answer last if you want. I can answer first.
Do you have a long answer?
Not particularly long.
Okay, go first, please.
Okay. So not really as an adult. Some have just fallen away as we've grown apart, but they weren't necessarily unhealthy. They just kind of run their course, which I believe is a thing that happens. The last time I remember actively having to end a friendship was in high school. And it was because she had feelings for me and I did not return those feelings. And she got increasingly toxic with me. And so it was not ended well. It was a yelling match at school. We made up a few months later, but it was right before she graduated early and moved away to college, to start college early. So yeah, that was a person where I had a friendship with her like I have with you, but she did not.
Saw more. Wanted more.
Yeah. And, I had always been very clear that was never an option, because I was dating Deidre at that time. At that time, I'd already been dating Deidre for like 3 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was the last time, and really I think might be the only time I ever had to like end a friendship, like purposefully, that I recall.
So my answer to this one is yes, but no. And let me explain.
I understand that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
Because you know the story.
I do.
That's why. So about 2 years ago, Chris and I are best friends with another couple, and have been
best friends.
Yeah, we have been best friends for several years. Worked in ministry together, all attended the same church. But a couple years ago, there were some underlying things that were occurring and things that were being said that were just hurtful.
Let's make it clear, it's not my wife and I. It's a different, just so nobody's getting thoughts.
Yeah,
It's a different couple.
Yeah, there was never a time where Matt and I have only fought once.
And I was wrong. And we made up. I mean, we fought it out immediately.
Yeah.
And it was solved.
Yeah. So it was not the case with these friends. And for a while, we tried to just kind of like push down the feelings and not really address it, not really talk about it. Chris and I tried to work on it on our own. I know that they were working on it on their own.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that correct English?
Enough.
On their own. Anyway, but it became to the point where every time we were together, which was a lot, like feelings of bitterness and resentment would just boil up, and it became incredibly unhealthy, not just for the four of us, but even for our children. And so there was almost a year and 4 months where we did not speak, which when you go every day speaking to these people and they are quite literally a part of your daily life, a part of your family, not speaking to these people was very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Very hard. but it was also very necessary. And thankfully, in that year and 4 months, Corona happened. And so it made it a little easier to not have to talk to them and see them because we were all quarantined.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not having them in our daily lives made us realize that we needed to resolve and forgive and restore in time, because not having them in our daily lives was too painful.
Yeah.
And we knew that we needed them as our friends. So it was a little over a year that we didn't talk. We just completely cut ties, no texting, no nothing. I think the only time that we said anything was on the birthdays, and it was just happy birthday, no more. And then finally one day, and she would say, I walked past her and I smiled, and instead of wanting to kill me, she actually smiled back. And so it was in that moment that we both kind of realized, okay, healing is happening. And so we didn't push it. We didn't force anything. We just continued to pray. And then it was about 3 months after that that we reached out to each other, and we sat down. She and I sat down, had a very long conversation with each other that lasted about 5 hours. I missed a VBS meeting that I was supposed to be at. And then she and I continued to heal. Slowly, the husbands continued to heal. And looking back now, it's kind of strange and odd that we even went through that season, because we've kind of picked right back up, but left the nasty stuff in the past where it belonged. So restoration is possible.
Well. You told that well.
Thank you.
All right. Next question from KY.
Okay.
Is what question were you secretly hoping that we would ask?
I can't think of one.
I kind of wanted to talk about my tattoos, but since no one asked, I'm not gonna. And then she asked,
That
what
had
questions
nothing to do with friendship.
were
Whatever.
I don't know. And then, and then what question were you secretly dreading that we'd ask?
That last one that I just answered. I'm not even kidding.
See, I took these as, they're the friends that we're talking about, the Discord buds. And so this question was a broad question, not about friends per se, but what did you hope that we, as your friends, would or wouldn't ask in this whole ask us anything thing?
Yeah, I know.
That's why my answer wasn't friendship related.
Oh.
And my
okay.
answer for this one's not friendship related either, because the question I was dreading you'd ask is, how much do I weigh?
Okay.
All right. Next up from Tad, what is one activity you wish you could share with the other, even if they're not interested in?
Cruising and camping.
I want to ride a bunch of roller coasters together.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
Thray asked, this decade shifted our comfort zones about how we interact as people. Pre-pandemic, what was your default form of socializing? Coffee, movies, board games? How did you like to hang out?
I am always the host. So pre-pandemic, it was regular that on a Saturday night or a Sunday afternoon, people were at my house and we're playing games, hanging out, talking, watching football or whatever, just being together in my home.
My default form of socializing is to be forced to go places by my wife, because I actively dislike the idea of hanging out with everybody, even people that I absolutely love. I almost always have fun when I go, but I forget that every time that comes up in the next weeks or months. But I have to hang out with people, if I have to hang out with people, rather. Movies are always a good choice because there's less talking. And if it's a group get together, I'd prefer to be playing games, but I feel like I've done that almost just as much post-pandemic as I did pre-pandemic. So It really hasn't changed all that much for me because I'm a buzzkill.
Well, so it's funny that your first pick is to go to the movies because that is my last pick. Like, anytime anybody's like, you want to go to the movies? And I'm like, not really. I can't talk.
And last one for this section is from Threy again. Besides Among Us, what games do you most enjoy and want the group to try sometime?
Oh my gosh. We love Jackbox games in our house. Quiplash, the Wheel of Enormous Proportions. Is that what it's
Something
called?
like that.
Yeah.
And we play occasionally with the group. The group does do some, rarely, like special occasions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love Ticket to Ride. Love
I
Code
haven't
Names.
played that. I need to play Ticket to Ride.
Oh, Ticket to Ride. You know what? Can we just invite you and Daedra and the kids over and we'll do Ticket to Ride?
We should do that some night, for
Okay,
sure.
perfect.
For real. And I'm being serious.
What are y'all doing Sunday?
It won't be this week. No.
Anyway.
You got to give us much more advance notice than that.
Why?
Because
It doesn't get much more advanced.
my schedule is constantly in flux with things. What about are there online games or anything? Or just all party games?
Wordle, for sure.
You can't play Wordle as a group.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, no, but we do. I mean, we may not play together, but we challenge each other. That's the whole purpose of
Okay,
sharing your
sure.
score.
Okay.
And then the game pigeon games that I've talked about before.
I don't think I've
phone.
even heard of that. I'll look it up. You don't
I
have to
didn't
explain
even
it
know
all
that
right
there was a thing. It may be an Apple thing, honestly. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah.
So I have Jackbox games on here as well.
Sorry.
More Jackbox game nights would be fun. I'm into party type games, group type games. I'm not a big gamer otherwise, so I love to play like Fall Guys or Gang Beasts or Mario Kart with this group. I think all those would be really, really fun. Yeah, like the stuff you said, Code Names. I love Code Names. We've played that online a few times. And that's always fun. It's usually Brian that's hosting that game.
Yeah.
And it's always a blast. That one makes you think. That one makes, and that game has the power to make you feel real smart or real dumb.
Real dumb.
But
Yeah.
both as the person giving the clues. Like, I don't really feel bad if I don't catch a clue, but if I'm the one giving the clue and I think it's a brilliant one and no one else can see it, I'm the one that feels dumb.
Yeah.
I'm not like, you guys are so stupid. I'm like, oh, I thought this was going to be easier.
Yep.
All right. Those are all the friendship questions,
Yeah.
guys. All right. Let's end our show. But before we go, we want to share some things that we hate. You want to go first?
Oh, group chats. I hate group text
Like
messages.
text messages? Absolutely.
I
Oh my
hate
gosh.
them
Yes.
So
You know what? I'm not even going
much.
to read my thing. I'm going to just jump on board with yours.
Okay.
The fact that we have not developed a way to remove ourselves from a group text message
For
that we
real.
don't want to be in anymore is egregious. How has this not been facilitated in these apps yet? A unsubscribe button
Right?
from these chats. I am in this massive freaking group chat for ministers in this area, of which I am barely qualified because I've given like 3 sermons. But I have to hear about all these luncheons and meetings and conferences and discussions about where and when it goes off all day long, and I can't get off the list.
So my reasoning for hating group chats is not quite as big as yours. But I just feel like there's no group chat etiquette that's ever applied. Like, I understand the necessity for having a group chat.
Sure.
Okay. It makes it so much easier when you need to tell a large number of people something very specific. Okay, cool. Here's the thing that you don't do in a group chat. Same rules that apply in small group, apply in group chat. There is no crosstalk. If you're going to have crosstalk, and crosstalk is when 2 individuals engage in a conversation excluding all others. If you're going to have crosstalk with someone, have your own individual text. Please. There's nothing wrong with opening up a new text message and texting that one person and saying, "Hey, just saw what you said in the group message. Let's chat about it."
And I also think that it should be set up like fully developing what I said earlier. It should be set up like email. you should have the option of reply to the sender or reply all.
Yeah.
Because for mine, one of my biggest pet peeves is the church prayer chain thing that I'm a part of. Mm-hmm. Because all it's supposed to be is when we have a prayer request come in, we have one person who sends that prayer request out. But then we have 1,000 people replying, I will pray, or hitting a little emoji that's only on Apple products for this. And I get liked this whole message, on and on, just praying. It's a prayer chain that you signed up for. We assume already that you're praying when these come in. You don't need to tell us.
Yeah.
That's what this is for. So let's just all assume we're praying for the prayer chain things and stop blowing up everybody's phone.
Please.
Anyway, that was a good gripe.
You're welcome.
Let's get out of this bad mood and into our verse for the day.
Our verse for the day is 3 John 1:4. I have no greater joy than to hear that my children are walking in the truth.
Oh, goodness. This is a long stream.
It really is.
And I've noticed our stream has been struggling to keep up at points. I can't tell if that's just on our computer or if y'all can see that. Has there been times where it's been a little laggy on your side? Or is it just my computer not being able to keep up?
My ears are hurting.
Okay, so yeah, that might be everybody. It comes and goes.
Sorry, guys.
From what I can tell. I got it. We're using a laptop that is not made to handle all this anymore, or at all, because the laptop we were using, which was a gaming laptop, finally died. So we got to get a new system up in here. We're saving the money. I don't know how quickly it'll get here, though.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you good at restoring computers?
No.
Okay.
I'm good at the software, not the hardware.
I was cleaning our bedroom the other day and came across 2 laptops that were underneath our bed that we just don't use.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought, I wonder if we could use one of these, but I don't know the shape that they're in anymore.
Yeah. And this is a relatively new laptops with pretty decent memory, so I'm not sure it would be any worse or better.
No, but 2 free computers to kind of see. Why not?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to bring them, what are they?
I have no idea. One's an HP.
Okay, so one's a PC at least. Yeah, we can give it a shot.
Sorry.
Chill out.
I know, my bad.
Right.
Also, I do know somebody who is really good at restoring computers, so
okay.
it's always an
Give
option.
it a shot.
I mean, but we would have to send it to Tennessee because it's Nick. But he legit rebuilds computers all the time. So, anyway.
All right. Three's audio only to save data. Hey, I get you. I understand that where you're at, you don't have a whole lot of data to deal with. That's why you lag in Among Us occasionally, right? Because I think you run off your phone. Internet off your phone. Yeah. All right. Day 4. Whew. It's our longest stream ever. Day 4. Here we go.
Rise and shine, nerds.
You're tuned in episode 447 of the Back Row Morning Show, proudly a part of the Love Thy Nerd podcast network. I'm Radio Matt, the station manager and chief radio nerd here at LTN. I'm a third-generation radio dude and a lifelong nerd.
And I'm Mo, sidekick to the chief radio nerd, here to bring the facts and fire to your day. And I actually don't need coffee this morning.
Today on the show, our final day answering the ultimate Ask Us Anything.
Also on the show today, MoviePass is back and probably just as bad as ever.
But first, today is Thursday, February 24th, 2022, and we got some holidays to celebrate.
That's right. It's National Toast Day.
Toast
Yeah.
Day.
So take your white bread and stick it in the oven somewhere.
Toast.
And toast it to your desired burntness. It's also National Tortilla Chip Day.
Yay.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, National Chili Day. Now here's the question. Is it the soup, the country, or the pepper?
I believe it is the is it
Soup.
considered
It's
a
a
soup or a
soup, right?
stew?
Oh,
I feel like it's more closer to a stew.
mind your business.
Chili stew.
Whatever. Chili soup? I don't know.
I'm more interested in the tortilla chips. And normally, this would be the time that I bring in a rant. But since we're not doing a Discord discussion for one of this week's main topics, today we're going to be doing a quick one here. So everybody who is listening with us live on Twitch as we record these, if you would like to jump in for a very, very simple, very lighthearted question, we would love for you to jump in. This is going to be a quick one. We're not going to really be debating too hard, I don't believe, unless someone is just really passionate about this topic. But I'm going to give you a few seconds here to jump in. It is National Tortilla Chip Day, as Mo just said. And the question we're going to be talking about is who has the best tortilla chips? Both store-bought tortilla chips and restaurant tortilla chips. So we only got one in the chat right now, so feel free to jump in whenever you're ready. But for now, we got Tad. What's up, Tad?
What up, Tad?
There we go.
Oh,
Okay,
there you are. Okay, I can hear you now.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
KY,
Oh, man,
how
this
are you
has been
doing?
Great.
Oh, this has been great. This has been a great time.
This week?
Yeah.
This week?
Now nobody even needs to listen to the radio shows if you've been here because you got the whole thing.
Got the
No, I'll still
whole
listen to it and
world.
smile and laugh.
KY, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm good.
K to the Y.
Did it rain a whole bunch or snow a whole bunch there? What happened?
Both, actually. Yeah,
Both?
in the last 12 hours, we got some of both.
Wow.
So,
Mayhem Megara, how are you doing?
Hello, I got a snow day today, so I am happy.
Nice.
Nice.
Thray, how are you?
I'm okay. I came in late, so I'm going to pretend I know what's going on.
Oh, we haven't even started, so you're good. All right, so the question is very simple. It's National Tortilla Chip Day. I need to know who has the best tortilla chips, both store-bought bags and restaurants. We'll start with Tad
Okay.
since he was here first.
Oh, yay. Juanita's and Qdoba's.
Juanita's, is that the bagged chips?
Yeah, Juanita's is the bag.
I feel like
and
we have one.
Qdoba-
We have a restaurant called Juanita's. Or we did.
No, we
that's
don't.
weird.
We have a Juanitos.
Juanitos, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never
It's-
heard of
it's
Juanitas
Juanita's brother.
as a bag chip
really?
before. Yeah,
We might have to do a taste test then.
interesting.
Hey, that could actually be a good series.
And then what was the restaurant you said?
Qdoba. It's
Qdoba?
kind of like, it was like the first Chipotle.
Yeah. We don't have one of those around here either, but I do know what you're talking about.
You
Yeah.
guys have authentic, so you don't have to have the Qdobas.
All right, who jumped in next? KY. KY jumped in second. What's up?
okay, so store-bought, I don't want to say great value, so I'll have to say no answer because, I have a comparison, so I don't feel qualified to answer that part. But the restaurant one, honestly, I have to say Monroe's in Albuquerque, which is a restaurant that my aunt and uncle own. And
What?
there is
You didn't-
no
she's told us about this
Mexican
before.
or Tex-Mex restaurant
okay,
I
I
have
do
been
remember
to
this. I do
that
remember
has
that.
had the ones that match the ones that I eat there. And so I'm like, I never get them except every 5 to 10 years,
Yeah.
if that. But man, they're just so good.
Yeah, you know what? I do remember you telling us that before, and I geeked out about it then too. Yeah. Okay. Megara, you were next, my dear.
I was next. Qdoba for the restaurant, just because it's too hard to choose anything. And then I'm going with the Tostitos scoops because I like scooping up all the dip.
You're a scoop girl. All right.
Scoop.
Scoops.
Scoop.
Thray.
Scoop-a-doop. Oh, no? Okay.
Chip
I
it up.
walked in on the wrong conversation.
Do you not
because
like
I
chips?
admit, I will put up with just about any chip.
Oh, no, she
as
loves
long-
chips.
If it's, it's not technically a tortilla chip, but Doritos even are good. So
I'll give it to you.
Okay. Well, it's an uneducated opinion, so there you go. I'm also that girl that will go with a group of people to authentic South a Tex-Mex place
Yeah.
and fill up on the chips because I know the chips are safe. They're not bean paste. They're not mysterious overspiced thing that my friends wanted me to eat and burn myself. And then I know to spice it up even more. So yeah, I will go to plenty of restaurants and go, oh yes, the chips, those are the best. This was the best part of the entire experience.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm a basic boy. I like they used to be just $2. Now they're $2.89, but they're the budget chip, the Santitas tortilla chips. They're everywhere. They're at every store that we have here. They're cheap, but they're crunchy and salty and yummy. They're a very good queso chip. They're sturdy enough to uphold the heaviest of quesos, but not so thick that they're not like crispy enough. And also, when it comes to like restaurants, I'm also very basic. If they cook them correctly, I really like Chili's tortilla chips. They're cooked and salted correctly. They're amazing. But if we're going more authentic, we have a very small chain that's based out of here called Leal's. Mm-hmm. And they make their own tortilla chips. And they even sell them in bags in our state in a few places. But they make their own tortilla chips, and you sprinkle a little seasoned salt on those bad boys. And that's all I'll eat. I'll just sit there and eat nothing but chips forever.
So I'm on the same page with you for restaurants. Leal's number one, hands down. And Chili's, they're usually pretty good. However, I cannot stand Santitas. And they're Chris's favorite. And I hate them.
I love you, Chris.
So the reason is because they are so thick. I don't like a thick chip. I want more of a thin.
Like thick boys?
I want more of a thin chip.
The thin boys?
That's kind of crispy, but it's like a delicate process of scooping your queso or your salsa onto it because you don't want it to break off because it's that thin of a chip, but it's so good. So bagged chips for me, it's either on the border.
Yeah, those are thinner and crispier, aren't they?
Uh-huh. Or Julio's.
Julio's, okay. Yeah, those are all right.
So those are my chips.
Brother Mon Chat said he wanted to submit that the worst bagged tortilla chips are the Hers brand tortilla chips.
So Hers makes great everything else, but not tortilla chips.
Anybody else have a least favorite tortilla chip before we close the Discord?
What are the ones that I always put on your finger
Bugles.
Bugles.
Those are not tortilla chips.
Those are not tortilla chips. What are y'all talking about? Crazy.
But I've seen people try to make nachos out of them.
No.
That's like using chicharrones to make nachos. You can't use something that's not a nacho to make nachos.
That's
you
nacho
know, there's
business,
the Food
Mom.
Network episode with that or something. Keto nachos.
Yep.
I mean, that's exactly
That's
right.
what it is. Yeah.
Keto nachos, baby.
So San Rita's.
You're quiet again.
Oh, am I?
I'll just turn you up on my end. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello?
You're good.
Hello.
You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. San Rita's white. Yeah, the white corn ones.
Santaritos. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is
The gas station kind.
Yeah.
Is it not the same thing as Santitas?
No. It's a different brand.
Just like Briars and Dryers.
Those are also different brands.
They're at
No,
$2.29.
It's the same thing. It's just a regional thing where they change the name.
Oh, yeah, you're right. But no, these are not the same thing. Because we have them both here.
I have nothing to add about chips, but I would like to clarify that I have never tormented 3 at a Mexican restaurant with spicy food.
So Meg,
So,
I am
I don't know
glad.
what
Weirdly
you're
specific
talking about.
qualification, we will say.
Oh,
At a
okay.
Mexican restaurant.
I have never at a Mexican restaurant tormented 3 with spicy food.
All right. That is
Okay.
very succinctly put. All right. Let's go ahead and close out the Discord. Thank you all for jumping in and having some fun with us.
Love
Thanks,
y'all.
Matt.
Thank you guys for
Love
answering
you.
questions.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And we still have the most questions of any section to come. Mostly because of Thray. This is the section that Thray dumped like 20 questions into.
Oh, that's right. Are we reading all of those?
We're reading all of them, but we're going to answer quick. We got to answer real quick, this one. This one has more questions than any of the other ones, almost by double. So we have to be fast. And
Hold on. I'm telling Chris what I want for Taco Bell. I'm hurrying. Okay, there we
Middle
go.
of the show.
Here we go.
now
All
it's
right.
time for Mo's fact of the day.
Toasting bread in ancient times was a means of preserving it. The Romans spread the idea of toast throughout Europe, even into Britain, and the colonists brought toast to the Americas.
And now it is time for our weird news desk.
Here's a news story you might not have heard.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even open it up.
Oh,
But guess what? You've heard about MoviePass, right? You remember MoviePass?
I think so.
We talked
but
about
I
it a
don't
little bit on the
remember.
show. MoviePass was this idea that you could pay a subscription, and it was very low. I think it was $19.99 or maybe even less than that a month, and basically just go see unlimited movies at the theater.
Oh, yes. I remember.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And it was a massive failure because it was such a success. Everybody wanted it to the point where they were really losing money. And so they kept trying to do different things, and they basically made the service worse. They started blocking out times that you could not go, which were all the prime times. They started cutting it back to you can't see new releases. Started cutting it back to you can only see like these movies that are being played in the movie theater again. Like the new Mission Impossible came out, but some bigger theaters also started playing the original Tom Cruise Mission Impossible at the same time. They're like, you can go see Mission Impossible, the old one. You know, this is that's it. Just slowly faded to the point where they could not financially keep it going. So MoviePass is coming back, MoviePass 2.0. And the way they're trying to do this is they're trying to instead have you earn your ability to go watch movies by watching ads on your phone, which, you know, that's happened. There have been things that do that. There's, I think there's a company called Swag Bucks that I used for a few years, which was essentially you sit there and you watch commercials, and every commercial you watch, you get a few cents, like 25 cents a commercial, something like that. And after, you know, a couple weeks of this, you can get a cash out of like $20 from Amazon.
Huh.
I bought several pops with that one year.
Interesting.
And it was pretty neat. And so this is coming the same way. But here's the problem with these things. Not a problem for us, but a problem for the businesses doing that is like when I did the Swagbucks thing, I wasn't actually watching the ads.
Right.
I'd sit there, I'd tap play, I'd let it play, and then I'd tap the next one. And they've tried to get around this by like asking you a question about the ad at the end of it. Some businesses are doing that, and I haven't experienced that before. But MoviePass 2.0 wants to do something completely different. They want to track your eyeballs.
Lovely.
They want to be able to have their app tie into your phone's camera and track the pupils of your eyes to make sure you're watching the ads, which I get the motivation behind, but it's also feeling real creepy. Is this something you want to do?
Heck no. I feel pretty much the same about this as I do the toilets from last week.
Those toilets could have some real benefits.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah. So this was talked about on February 10th. Like that was their big announcement day, and it's supposed to be rolling out soon. But yeah, it says The new MoviePass will also use your phone's camera to make sure that you're actually watching the ads. And the president said, as I'm looking at it, it's playing back. But if I stop and I'm not paying attention to it, it actually pauses the content. And so there's no way around it. You have to sit there and just watch commercials.
Stupid. Dumb.
So,
dumb.
I mean, this is great for advertisers because it says, people put the phone down and didn't pay attention to commercials for things like this in the past. 70% of video advertisement is actually unseen. This is a way that advertisers get the impact they're looking for, but you're also getting the impact yourself because you're earning money for it. I don't know. Technology is supposed to launch in summer. I'm not sure I'm going to want to do that. I don't think anybody really is. I feel like MoviePass 2.0 is going to go the way of MoviePass 1. Just dunzo.
Yeah, probably.
Dunzo.
And that'll be it. Yep.
All right, so this week, Mo and I are answering your questions. And once a week, you ask us a question to end the week. And we've done a couple of these short AMAs in the past. But this week, we've invited you to ask everything about everything. And as long as it's not super inappropriate, we've promised to answer it all, even the embarrassing ones. And today, we are answering all the questions that don't fit into any of the other categories that we had. This is the free-for-all day. Ask us literally anything about literally anything. So.
So I get to.
You can answer the questions. Ask the questions first.
Yeah,
rather.
I get to ask the questions first, right?
Yep.
All right. So our first question comes from Lark, and she says, "If you had to shuffle the colors of everyone on the Among Us crew, what colors would each person be?"
Okay, I tried to remember everybody and what everything was. So I'd be yellow, Silver would be gray, Toffee would be tan, Thray would be purple, Magar would be orange, Brian would be blue, Grayson would be maroon, Rogar would be red, Lark would be salmon, Tad would be pink, and that's about as far as I got.
Okay.
Brother Mod and Gabigan can just swap colors.
That's fair.
I have no rhyme or reason to any of these.
Yeah. Listen, the only rhyme or reason that I could really think of is that whoever I like the least, I would give purple because he's always voted off first. Always. And in that same regard, I feel like I would have to give Toffee Thray's color, the darker gray, because Thray is always taken seriously. And I feel kind of bad for my firstborn because he's never taken seriously.
Oh, he's always taken seriously.
Too seriously. How about that?
It's taken as a threat.
Uh-huh.
Lark asked, who
Oh,
is
I'm
it?
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're the one asking questions.
Yeah, it's all
That's
right.
my fault.
Lark says, who is a guest you'd like to have on the show?
For some reason, this took me a really long time.
Really?
And I'm not even really happy with my answer, but I would like to have Brian Regan on. Just talk to him about comedy.
Okay. I have two. Obviously, my celebrity pick is going to be Candace Cameron Bure.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have her on the show. But then definitely not celebrities, but a little more well-known. I would want to have Mac and Mary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think
Anybody from the CR higher-ups would be cool.
I think that Mac and Mary would be... I would choose Mac and Mary over Johnny or Rodney any day because I think that... And I like Johnny and Rodney, but...
Be so definite about it. Jeez.
Anyway, I
Any
think
day of the week.
Mac and Mary
garbage.
would definitely bring fun to the show.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
We're not really fun here.
No, we're not. Toffee wants to know, who is your all-time favorite guest you've had on the show?
Okay, so this one's difficult, and I'm not even sure you heard about it. Did you hear about it?
I heard about it, and I was wondering if we were going to be able to say it or not.
I'm going to talk about it
Okay.
because it needs to be addressed because it was our show. My favorite guest that we've had, which we haven't had that many,
We really haven't.
truthfully,
Yeah.
was Carolyn Martin, which is a bummer given what's happened with her since. She's very funny. We got along very, very well. But she made a very poorly thought out joke that I don't believe she intended
Yeah.
it to be anti-Semitic, but that's how it came across.
Very much.
And she handled the backlash poorly so far by not addressing it, not apologizing. And the backlash has just been so huge all over TikTok, and internet sites picked it up and everything. It's been rough. I'm sure it's been really rough on her. I feel really bad for her. But we're praying for her, praying that she tries to handle this in a decent way. And she is a relatively new believer. And so I pray that this hasn't derailed that and that she can keep growing in her faith. But it shows how something so in the scheme of things, little, a TikTok video can be a complete life disruptor.
Absolutely.
And so I still think she has a good heart, and I really don't think that she meant what everybody has read into it. But there's just nothing we can do about it, which it just breaks my heart. But it was a uproariously fun and funny interview.
Yeah. So the only other guest that I think we've actually had is Joey, right?
Like if we're, yeah.
That's the only other person that I could remember
Pretty
having.
much. At least recently.
Oh, no.
Who else?
Sarah
Oh, that's
Brooks.
right. That was like the second week we were on LTN.
Yeah, there we go.
She's good.
There's friend, children's author, speaker. Yeah, Sarah Brooks.
Yeah.
There we go. Ha. All right. Next question comes from Toffee again. What is your all-time favorite taste test?
So honestly, it might be the Tim Tams.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because I'm taking this question to mean what's the favorite thing we've eaten.
That's fair.
But
That's not how I took it.
Okay. But I also really loved those roast chicken chips from Japan that tasted like ramen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, those were good.
See, and we really have had quite a few delicious things.
Surprisingly so. Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think that my favorite taste test, and not for the way that it tasted,
Okay,
but
more entertaining taste test. Okay.
was the first turkey dinner.
That was a
that we
good one. You know what actually makes me laugh the most lately? And it was a really quick one.
What?
It was the cucumber Lay's chips, because our reactions were both very different, but also very funny because we both hated what we were tasting immediately.
Yeah.
Like I froze up like I was terrified, and you just had a meltdown of how bad it was.
That's our personalities.
Yeah, it was great.
Freeze up, meltdown. Yeah. Okay, Toffee also wants to know what our thoughts on anime are. Meh.
Nah. I can see the appeal, but it's not for me.
Exactly. There's nothing really about it that I can't like pinpoint that I just don't care for.
Right.
It's just that I don't care for it.
I just can't. I've tried to get into a few like shows. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I think that for our generation, it's just not.
Maybe. I think we're just on the tail end of it.
Yeah.
Like just a little too old to catch it when it first came around.
Yeah. Brian wants to know, if you could be famous for any one thing, what would you want to be? What would you want it to be?
I don't want to be famous, but if I had to be famous for something, I guess I'd like to be in a band or something like that. Because I always thought that would be kind of cool.
Okay.
I was in a band in high school with Bubba.
Yeah, what was it called?
Matthew and Bubba.
Oh, yeah. That was the last time you went by Matthew, huh?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Obviously for writing, but more specifically for writing, writing devotionals, but writing recovery-based devotionals.
Remind me, we need to talk about that.
Uh-oh. Okay. Next question, also from Brian. What is your most embarrassing moment that is safe to say on the radio?
Okay. We're going to focus in on me because this was a little bit long. All right. So I've told a lot of embarrassing stories. I recently told the time I accidentally called my second grade teacher fat. And that's way up there because I told that, I said, that still haunts me to this day. But there is one that really happened only in front of my wife, but it is the most embarrassed I think I've ever felt. We lived in Albuquerque, and we were driving back from Clovis, and we were about 45 minutes from the city, and we had stopped at a Taco Bell about 30 minutes before. While we were driving, I started having intestinal issues, which I thought was just gas. You know how they say never trust a Taco Bell fart? Well, I learned that day. So there I am in the passenger seat, and I had just fully crapped my pants. Fully. We were too far away from any businesses to wait, so we pulled over on the side of the road, and it was incredibly windy. The door was open so I could stand up. My pants were down, and I'm using every saved napkin in our glove box to clean myself up with. While I'm frantically trying to do that, a giant cloud of mosquitoes starts attacking me all over my legs, my arms, and my head. Every piece of exposed skin. So now I'm trying to shoo away mosquitoes with one hand and clean myself up with the other. And in the commotion, my wedding ring flies off, but I didn't notice that right away. I dive back into the car, mostly cleaned up, douse my hands in Purell, and start smacking mosquitoes that got in the car as we were driving to our apartment. And just before we reach our block, I see my ring is gone. I think back and vaguely remember it flying off. I am ticked at this point. It is now dark, and I just can't let it go. So I clean up fully, change clothes, and we grab some flashlights and go all the way back to that spot on the highway. We drive around the distance about where we remember it might have been, and we just keep looking for a bunch of dirty napkins in the field because the mosquitoes prevented me from picking them up to dispose of them properly the first time. Once we found the spot, which was a miracle in itself, we got out our crappy cheap flashlights and searched the tall grass until I finally found my ring again. You said we had to answer the questions.
I am proud of you for answering that. I really am. Mine also has something to do with poop, but not my own. While in Ireland, we went to Ireland over St. Patrick's Day in 2012, and Mila was about 11 months old, coming up on her first birthday. And because we were in Europe and we traveled a lot, we did a lot of baby wearing. So I had this carrier that Mila basically lived in for that entire week while we were in Ireland. We had just left the Jameson distillery and stepped outside. The plan was to go to the Arlington House to watch Celtic dancers and have dinner. And all of a sudden, I felt very warm and very wet from about my belly button to my toes. Again, I am wearing her. She's on my front. Her head is resting on my chest. She's pretty much asleep. And I look over at Chris and I say, "What just happened?" And he's like, What are you talking about? And I was like, I think that she pooped. And sure enough, we cloth diapered with Mila. Oh. And so this particular diaper held in none of what she let out. Oh, gosh. And it was definitely not solid in any way, shape, or form. So I am standing there in front of the Jameson distillery, looking at our friends who we had traveled with, trying to figure out what we were going to do because I absolutely, obviously could not go have dinner. So Chris hails a taxi. The boys, Chris and myself, all climb into this taxi with Mila and have to drive about 25 minutes back to our hotel covered in my daughter's diarrhea.
Whew. Yep. Neither are good experiences.
Nope, not even a little bit.
All right, let's try and fly through a bunch of these.
Okay, the next question is, what is, in your opinion, the best and worst superpower?
That was Brian that
And
asked
that,
that.
yes, sorry.
So best for me is flying or being able to move things with your mind. Worst for me is mind reading.
Yeah, or being able to teleport or being invisible. Being invisible. I think invisible is like
Invisible is not bad on its face, but it'll make you a gross person.
Yeah. It was super quick. All right. Grayson wants to know, what is one big name actor or band that you just wish would stop for any reason at all?
Kanye West. I think it would be best for him to just be out of the spotlight and grow in his faith.
Tom Cruise. Brother Mod wants to know, what is the purpose of fairy tales?
To be allegories for real life and teach lessons, though those lessons aren't always the best.
I have no idea what the purpose is. It is to keep divorce rates up. That's what it is for. Brother Mod also wants to know, have you ever been in a high-speed pursuit?
Nope. Got places to be, Mo.
Okay, so here's the thing. There was a time in my life where I sped a lot, and I lived in a town that was about an hour and a half away from the town that I like to visit frequently. And so, yeah, there was a time where I definitely was not traveling at the speed limit and had about a 10-minute fight with myself as to whether or not I could outrun the cops. I didn't, and thankfully the cop was very gracious and kind and just gave me a speeding ticket for the most amount that he could without having to take my license and car at that moment. Brother Mod also wants to know, have you ever fired a gun?
Yep.
Yeah, sure have. And lastly, Brother Mod wants to know, have you ever fired a gun whilst in high-speed pursuit?
Nope.
No. All right. Eli wants to know, thoughts on Green Day.
I like the early stuff. When I Come Around was the first song of theirs I ever heard, and I loved it when I was a kid. The early 2000 stuff was okay too. Anything after American Idiot, though, I have not really cared for.
Wanna be an American idiot? I love Green Day. Probably the only punk band that I really, well, no, I shouldn't say that because I also like Fall Out Boy.
Yeah, you like a couple of them.
Yeah, okay. Really like Green Day. Wake Me Up When September Ends actually came out when Chris was going into basic training, and he graduated basic training the first week in October. So it was like my anthem for while he was in basic. Anyway, Eli also wants to know, have you ever crashed through a window?
Nope.
KY, if you could wake up with a fully developed frivolous skill that you don't already have, what would it be? Frivolous, not like speaking another language or martial arts, but more along the lines of beatboxing or juggling.
Juggling is a good one. Skateboarding, playing guitar, perfect impressions. That would be fun.
Freestyle rap. Another one from KY. What about getting older or growing up is hard for you to accept?
That I will never have enough sleep again. Like there's no such thing as enough sleep. I could sleep 8 to 10 hours. I will still wake up exhausted.
That eventually it's all going to end.
Ooh. You're not supposed to think about that till your 50s.
No. MDB, why is there chocolate flavored Tootsie Pops? I don't know.
Because there's a chocolate flavored soda.
What does that have to do with anything?
What does a question have to do with anything?
Do you not get the question?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Anyway, Tad, what is one hobby you wish you could do regardless of finances?
Comic collecting, pop collecting, maybe some sort of collecting.
Travel. I'd visit
Travel
everywhere.
would also be good. I'd like to
I'd go
drive everywhere.
I'd like to cruise.
I love driving.
Everywhere. Threy wants to know, have you ever walked out of a party and forgotten where you parked your car?
Nope. I always have an escape plan.
I have never done that. However, I have driven in a circle because I couldn't figure out how to get out of the parking lot. Threy also wants to know, have you ever mountain biked?
Yes, it wasn't exciting.
I have not ever mountain biked. It's very terrifying to me. The same reason that skiing is terrifying to me. I'm like deathly afraid that out of nowhere there's going to come a cliff and I'm going to be over the side of it.
Just dead.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Three again. Good grief. Okay, hold on. There's lots from Threy.
The whole next page is Threy. So why don't we just say from now on Threy until the next one.
Threy until I say otherwise. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Firefighter.
Matt. Honestly, I really, really want to be a public speaker. I really do.
Okay.
For real.
I like what I'm doing now. I'd like to keep doing this forever.
Okay. What is the right tip?
20% at minimum, more if they are personable, even if they aren't great at their job. To me, the attitude is far more important than the execution.
I was like, felt tip? Ballpoint? I'm so I was very, very, very confused there.
Index fingertip?
I know, like, I don't know. Okay, call a repair guy, call a repair guy or repair it yourself.
Repair guy, I will break it more.
Yes, if at all possible, repair it yourself, but please know when you are going to break it more.
There's very few instances where I was able to repair it myself.
Yeah. How superstitious are you?
Not really at all, I don't think.
Yeah, neither am I. How much money would you need to be paid to stay in a cemetery?
So if we're talking like overnight, $1,000. If we're talking like live there for a month or whatever, I'd need like monthly payments of $1,000 a night. So 30,000 a month.
I mean, that's, hey.
1,000 a night. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
I mean, I really don't think that I would need a whole lot to be paid to stay overnight. I think it would be an interesting experience to have.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it once for less than that, but I'm just saying, like, if you're really wanting me to commit to this, something I don't really want to do, then yeah, you're going to pay me a good amount for it.
I mean, that's fair. Would you hang a dead head, as in antlers, in your home?
No, but mainly because, yuck, I have a thing about animal bones. That's why I can't eat ribs, or I don't typically eat chicken that's still on the bone. It just yucks me out.
That's fair. No, because I take a lot of pride in the way that my house looks, and that would just throw off the feng shui. Do you have a pet?
Nope.
Yes, I have 4 dogs and a cat, and really only like 2 of them. Who has the bigger sweet tooth?
I'm not really sure. I have a pretty big one.
Yeah, I think that we're pretty equal,
I think
honestly.
we're pretty equal, yeah.
Do you play the game?
I must, since I just lost it.
Have you returned to the doctor visits?
I don't think she does.
Have you returned to doctor visits, like eye exams? So I guess that this is like when they say we'll need to see you back in.
I interpreted it as maybe like have I started going to these again since COVID?
Oh.
But I have no idea really how to pronounce this. Threy can correct us what that question really means if she wants.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, that's what she meant.
Okay, since COVID. Okay. Ow.
Yeah.
My booty hurts. I've been sitting in these chairs for so long. Yeah, I mean, I did last year. Went to both of them.
Yeah. Okay, are you already planning your next trip? Yes, always.
Not my next one, though I guess we are mentally planning our next road trip, but that probably won't happen until our 20th anniversary.
Which is not that far away. For spring break, we are actually going to Tennessee because my mom is getting married. And so the 5 of us are in the wedding. And so that will be our next trip. But then after that, I really want to take my kids to my hometown in North Carolina. They have never been to where I grew up. Never, ever, ever. And so anyway, yeah, that's my next big trip. What was the height of the tallest person you've ever seen, and where did you see them? I don't know.
In person, I saw Glenn Jacobs, which is Kane from WWE, at a rental car place outside of LAX. He is 7 feet tall.
Okay. Do you love to go a-wandering beneath the clear blue sky?
No, but make it an overcast sky, and I'm in.
Yeah. What do you think of the trend to make realtors stars or realtors stars?
I think it's dumb, but I also think most of reality TV is dumb.
Yeah, that's fair. Are you careful with your personal records?
Did you answer that question? Or did you just
I said,
go
yeah,
along with
that's
me?
fair.
Okay, but I assumed a different answer out of you.
No,
Okay.
not realtors.
Okay. Are you careful with your personal records? Not careful enough, probably. Decently careful.
Yeah. I feel like I could get very overwhelmed and consumed with trying to be overly careful. And so because of that, because I know myself well enough to know that I don't really have a balance, I just choose to ask Jesus to take the wheel. Do you feel your devices are personified?
If this means do I treat objects like people? No, I do not.
Yeah, no, neither do I. Have you ever gone furniture shopping in the big city?
Nope.
Do you do all the side quests in games or just the main story?
I usually do the whole main story and then go back for some side quests that interest me. I don't usually do them all. There's only been 2 games I think I've ever 100% completed, and that was Super Mario 64 and Wario Land on Game Boy, and that one was a freaking challenge.
I'm just a main story kind of person. Would you ever go to a cave store?
If you mean a store in a cave, heck yes. If you mean a store selling caves and cave-related items, heck yes.
I mean, I feel like we've both already been to a cave store because we went to, oh man, what's it called in, what's the cave?
Carlsbad Cavern?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there. All right. Have you ever been a waiter?
Yes, and I loved it and I hated it at the same time.
No, I have not. Have you ever noticed how many successful B&Bs are themed now?
I have noticed. I most recently saw one that's made to look like the house from Bluey, and I am in love.
I've never noticed that. Have you ever put your initials in wet cement?
Pardon me. I put my initials in a new patch at the Vassar home back when I was a teenager. But when I was a kid, I put my whole name in a new sidewalk at the zoo here in town that they were setting. They let a whole bunch of kids do this, so the entire sidewalk is covered in names. And every time I go to the zoo, my boys race to find my name first.
Aww.
It's cute. It's adorable.
I didn't know that. Very cool. No, I actually have never put my name or initials in wet cement.
Yeah, next time you go to our zoo here,
I'm gonna look.
It's in the little bird area.
Does it say just Matthew?
It says Matt Coker on it. It says my name.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Thank you, Thray, for those submissions. Next comes from Meg. What is the memory that you treasure the most that isn't something big?
Okay. So I don't know if this is the one I treasure the most, but I certainly think about it a lot with fondness. It's hard to think about all these other memories. Don't apologize, Thray. Thray's apologizing.
Oh, don't apologize.
So Deidre and I we were going to stores. We were doing our wedding registry. We stopped to get some big snow cones, eating them in the car, like, big cup full, giant things. Eating them in the car, talking about what we were going to do next, talking about wedding stuff. And she's holding hers in her left hand. And I ask her what time it is. And she does the full-on cartoon thing of whoop, and her entire thing splashed all over the inside of our car. It's everywhere, all over the center console. And she expected me to get really mad. And I started laughing at it. And she got mad at me for not being mad. And then we both just laughed on and on for hours about it. And still to this day, bring it up. So that is one of my most fond memories that's not really about anything important.
Okay, then. I don't really know.
It's a hard question to answer because you don't really store those in the front of your memory all that often. It's usually just things that pop into your brain occasionally.
Okay, no, I've got one. I think it's not like a big thing, right?
It's not supposed to be. Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I keep thinking of these things, and then I'm like, no, that's actually
That's too
a big thing.
Yeah. That's what I ran into too when I was answering these.
So, with Celebrate Recovery, you have once a year these big summits that you can go to. That's a conference where you go and get trained.
Yeah.
Okay. They also have what's called a one day, where it's just condensed the summit.
It's the main discussions, main classes. Yeah.
Condensed into one day. So my very first experience with one of these conferences was a one day in Oklahoma. And it was there that I was able to meet Mac and Mary. Mac and Mary Owens are some of the founders of Celebrate Recovery, some of the very first.
Yeah. I don't think they were founders, but they were early on leaders. Yeah.
They are from Louisiana. And oddly enough, are related to the Robertsons. So Willie Robertson.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Uh-huh. She is actually Corey's aunt.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I meet them at a dinner that we were able to go to because our friend was the state rep at the time.
Yeah.
And so we were able to have dinner with them. About a year and a half later, I go to my first summit. Now, Mac and Mary came over and they met Chris and I, talked with Chris and I, found out that Chris was military, and so just kind of shared a couple stories. That was it. Our conversation was no more than 10 minutes with them. About a year and a half later, I go to Summit, and it's just myself and the ministry leader at the time and our good friend, Sip. Just the two of us. I am kind of nerding out over seeing Mac and Mary again and kind of thinking, yeah, but they meet 1,002 other people on an annual basis. Yeah. They're definitely not going to remember me. Well, I end up going to one of their little breakout sessions. And as I'm sitting there, Mary looks at me, smiles, and points. And I was like, me? Really? And so at the end, I walked up to them and just was very much ready to reintroduce myself.
Right.
And as I walk up, Mary goes, Megan. And I was like, huh, you know me. And she was like, where's Chris? And I was like, at home. And so I had this whole conversation with Mac and Mary that I had only met one other time for a very short amount of time, but just felt like they were family.
Yeah.
And so that was, yeah.
That's a pretty cool memory.
Yeah. Anyway, Meg. Is it Meg?
Yeah, still Meg Megara.
Okay, Meg also wants to know, have you ever read fan fiction? If so, what site did you use?
Okay. So I don't really read all that much fan fiction. I really don't. I haven't really read any in years. But when I did, it was before there were like dedicated sites for it. This is embarrassing. So I'm just going to say the whole thing. When I was in 8th grade, I read a fan fiction episode called Wrestle Trek. It was a Star Trek type show thing, script, whatever you want to call it, but with WWF and WCW characters instead. The woman writing them was also looking for someone else to help her write more, and I jumped at it. So her and I, and eventually another woman, all wrote dozens and dozens of stories in this weird fan fiction website that she ran. And I have all of the ones that I've written printed out and saved in binders at my house. They're all terrible, but hilarious. And I'm actually very proud of much of the writing I did. But the premise is so stupid that it's really embarrassing.
I'm not following up that answer with an answer because I don't have one, and that one was really good.
All right.
Very good. What is one action scene you would love to film?
Batman versus Iron Man. I don't know.
I don't even know what this question is asking. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the best color and why is it purple?
Purple is nice, but the best color is yellow.
Purple is the best color because it is Baltimore Ravens. That's why. Okay. Meg also wants to know if you could change your name, would you?
To what? Templeton Ferrari III? Won't change the way mustard tastes.
Sometimes I wonder. No, actually, this is something that I've thought long and hard about. I would not change my name. Why are you laughing?
I want to hear your answer. I'm just happy. Chill out. I'm enjoying this.
I'm beginning to question all of my life's decisions.
We've also been doing this for 4.5 hours. I'm a little loopy.
Good gravy. Okay, that's fair. No, I would not change my name. There was a time in my life where I absolutely despised the name Megan because everybody's name is Megan. And so I was like, oh, can I just have a different name? Which
you do.
Is why I go by Mo. However, since becoming a mom, I'm like, no, this is the name that my mom gave me, and she gave me this name for a reason, and I dare not change my name. Cannon has said numerous times he will change his name when he's an adult, and it kind of breaks my heart.
Why?
Because he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the
Why?
name Cannon. Because kids are rude,
Who
and
doesn't
they
like their own name? That's weird.
because kids are rude, and they get picked on. Anyway, and then lastly,
Last question of the whole thing. All 4 days.
from Meg, are you a late person or an early person?
So I can interpret this two ways. I don't know if this means do I arrive early or late, or if
okay.
I stay up late or wake up early.
Okay.
So I answered both. If you mean do I arrive early or late, if it's up to me, I'm always early, but sometimes my kids refuse to allow that. But if you mean am I an early bird or a night owl, I operate as both interchangeably, often within the same week.
Fair. So reading this question, one thing clearly stuck out to me, and that was the fact that you are assuming I'm a person, and I'm not.
What is happening?
I'm barely a person most days. I'm just saying. Yeah.
I can't keep going. I can't. I'm so glad that was all of them. Oh, those were a lot of questions. Everybody who sent in questions for this, we had a lot of fun putting this together.
Yeah.
Mo's idea, y'all just ran with it. It was really good. Had a lot of fun answering these tonight. You guys are the best. It's fun to have kind of like a low-key week and not think super hard about things after the metaverse and the Encanto weeks that we had.
For real.
Just so deep and so much to talk about. It's nice to have a frivolous one. So we love you. That was great.
Facts.
Let's wrap that up there. Before we go, we're going to answer one final Ask Us Anything question. So this is your chance. Jump in the chat here on Twitch. Ask one more question. And that'll be the very last one for this week. Let's go. What do we got? Tad jumped in first. If you could switch one kid with each other, who would you agree to trade?
Toffee for Natalie?
Heck no, you can't have Natalie.
Toffee for Johnny?
Heck no, I don't want toffee.
Rogue!
Shoot. I'm not willing to answer this question if it's under the guise that it's forever. But if we were doing like a week trade, just 1 week, then yeah, toffee for Natalie would be fine.
Okay.
It'd be nice to have just a week where we can sleep.
Well, here's the thing. You would be like making out on top because Toffee is an awesome babysitter.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mind went a different direction with that sentence because I'm like, yeah, because a baby would be gone. I would be making out on top.
Shut up.
Of my way.
Okay. So we would have the baby And Toffee is an amazing babysitter, so you would have him for the boys. So it would
that'd be
almost
great.
be like
We could
kid
just
free.
leave. We
Yeah.
could just leave.
Yep.
Toffee
Exactly.
would play on my Among Us account, trick everybody.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay, that was fun. Let's end with our verse for the day.
Our verse for the day is Isaiah 53:5. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. Upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his wounds we are healed.
All right, that is all the meat of the shows for the entire week. This has been the longest thing, but we do have one final segment for you. It's why you come, it's why you stay. It's the taste test, everybody. It is Mo's turn. Let's see what other questions we had. Have you ever gotten a tattoo, and how would you describe it? Yeah, we'll have to say that for another time. How tired are you? Very. If you could choose one food for the other to eat, but they chose the flavor while you chose the texture, phew, that's too much thinking.
You'd
at
be
this
eating
point.
sushi, Matt.
I want to eat sushi. Trick me into eating sushi. I just can't. It's a mental barrier.
Okay, well, I can't trick you into eating sushi today, but how do Reese's snack cake sound?
Okay. Intriguing. Possibly scary.
Yeah.
Let's
I
give
feel
it a
like
shot.
Reese's, it's always hit or miss.
It really is. It really is. It could be great.
Take your pick.
Smaller than I assumed.
I thought they were going to be round like a cake. They're rectangular.
Feels like a candy bar. This is strange.
Yeah.
Smells all right. Okay.
Smells like Reese's.
Let's go. Set that back right there. I'm pretty disappointed.
I'm not.
No. The brownie part's too bitter.
Really?
It's too bitter. It's taking me out of it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I'm sorry.
No, Bubba, this is specifically for Twitch. We don't put this on the radio anymore. We realized that our taste tests on the radio were just a bunch of mouth noises, and we're like, okay. Even though people said they liked it, we were going to stop.
Yeah. If they like it, then they need to
Come
come
to
over to Twitch. It's the
Reese's-
cherry.
Reese's shrimp happened in your brain, and you were scared. Gross. But wait.
That sounds disgusting.
Reese's peanut butter covered shrimp. I mean, there's like a
No.
peanut sauce in Asian cuisine, isn't there?
I mean, yeah.
Kind of tastes
but
like peanut butter. It could work.
I don't know what you're talking about. These things
Could
are
get
good.
there. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
It's good.
I like the peanut butter part. I don't like the brownie part.
It's good.
It's not good.
It's good.
It's pointless to exist. No one needs this. Yeah. Thai shrimp and peanut sauce. That's almost a thing already. Why be afraid? Why can't it be Reese's? All right. Hey, everybody, we're done. It has been a long show, and we're not going to do another one this long again for as long as I can help it. But this one felt like it needed to be this long because of we needed to answer these questions that you asked with you seeing us as we answered them. It just had to happen this way. So we thank you. I think a few of you stuck through the entire time.
No, that is like my worst nightmare ever.
I think it's only happened once.
We've decided that if it ever actually does happen, then we're just done.
Not doing it that week.
Yeah, sorry.
Nope, not doing that. Not talking about that ever again. Nothing's organic ananymore. Not
Yep.
happening. I think it only happened one time on the, I think it was the podcast before we started doing the morning show. And we had recorded a whole bunch. And I don't know if you were there. Were you there?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And we had to
just sit there and
re-record it.
re-record it and talk like we'd never talked about it.
And it was awkward.
bad. It was a
Yeah.
bad show. We're going to we're gonna raid somebody if anybody's up doing things right now. I don't know who yet. Stick around for that. You'll get a few extra channel points. Give that person a follow. Love them. Spread that love. Thank you for joining us tonight. And once again, I'm Radio Matt.
And I'm Mo.
And if nobody else tells you, we promise it's true. Jesus loves you, nerd.